I hope that everybody's well and staying healthy. I'm now going to upload Daf Yomi, Daf Chavuv. I'm up to Daf Chavuv Mid Aleph, 3 lines from the top. Yesterday, the last thing we learned is that you're not supposed to light for Shabbos with balsam oil, tsari. And there were two views, Rabbah and Abaya. Rabbah said because it smells so good, so you might take some of the oil out, and that would be machabe. And Abaya said because it's flammable. So the problem of flammability is multiple problems. Taisva says we're afraid that if there's a fire, you may come to extinguish it. The Rashba and the Ran says if it's flammable, it might be a question of sakonas nefashos. So both reasons apply. What could be a possible difference between these two reasons? So the Ritva says, what happens if you can doctor the balsam oil so that it's not flammable? You mix some other oil into it, so that it's not flammable anymore, but it would still be aser, because if it still has a good aroma, you might take from it, and that would be machabe. Or the Sfasema says, that's a Ritva. And the Sfasema says, what happens if you already lit balsam oil before Shabbos? So if the problem is flammability, so Hashem Yazor, it shouldn't harm. But if the problem is you might come to take from it to be machabe, you'd have to move away from it so that you can't smell it. Because if you can smell it, you might come to be machabe. There's a very highly unusual Gemara coming up. It's a few lines. I never quite understood what the point of it was. It's 3 lines from the top. There was a mother-in-law that hated her daughter-in-law. Amrullah, so the mother-in-law said to her, Zil ikashit b'mishchad afarsama, go put on a cosmetic, balsam oil. Azla ikashit, and the daughter-in-law did it. Ki asas, when the daughter-in-law came back, Amrullah, the mother-in-law said, Zil isli shraga, go light a candle. Azla asla shraga, she lit a candle. Infach vanura, the fire caught the vapors of the balsam oil, bachalta, and killed her. I mean, it certainly shows you how flammable the balsam oil is, but the mashal here with the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law seems to be harsh. There must be some point to it. I don't know what it is. There's a pasuk in Yirmiyah, Perik Nun Beis, that says that after the Churban Beis Hamikdash, Amidalas Haaretz, Hishir Nevuzarada and Rav Tabachim Lekarmim Ulyagvim, from the impoverished people in the land, Nevuzaradan left Rav Tabachim, or cooks, and Karmim and Yagvim. What are Karmim? Tani Rav Yosef taught in a Braisa, Elu Malakte Afar Samain. These are people who picked balsam, Me Engedi Vad Ramasa, from Engedi in the south up to Rama. And Yagvim are Elu Tzayadi Chilazan, those who captured Chilazan to make Tchelis, Misulamais Sheltzur Vad Chaifa, from the ladders of Tyre, Tyre is a coastal city in Lebanon, down to Haifa. Taner Rabbanan, the Rabbanan taught in a Braisa, Emad Likim Betevel Tameh. If you have tevel that you weren't mafresh trumas and meisers, and it's tameh, you're not allowed to light it and have hana from it, b'chayil on a weekday, because you're not allowed to have hana from tevel tameh, and veitzarach leimer b'shabbos, and certainly not b'shabbos. The Rashba asks, the isser of benefiting from tevel tameh is an isser to benefit from tevel tameh. It has nothing to do with weekday and Shabbos. So why does the Gemara say, and certainly you can't use it b'shabbos? Similarly, Emad Likim Beneft Lavan B'chol, you can't use white neft during the week. Ben Tzarech Leimer B'Shabbos, certainly not B'Shabbos. And Bishleim Neft Lavan, white neft, is Memnei Shehu Af, because it's highly flammable like balsam. So you can't use it in the weekday, certainly not on Shabbos. Avol Tevel Tameh Maitama, what's wrong with using Tevel Tameh to burn? Omar Kroz, because the Pasuk says, Hashem spoke to Aaron, Vani Hinei Nasati L'cha Es Mishmeres Trumaisai, I've given you, you should take care of my trumais, plural. V'shtei trumais akasim medaber. The pasuk has given the kahanim 2 trumais, achas truma tahira to eat, v'achas truma tameya to burn. Ma truma tahira, just like truma tahira, ein l'chaba ela mishas harama v'elech. You can only eat truma tahira only after truma was separated from tevel. but tevel you're not allowed to eat. Af truma tameya, also truma tameya, ein lecha ba el mishas aroma ve'elech. The right to burn it, the kohen has to burn the truma only after the truma tameya was separated from tevel tameh. But as long as it was tevel tameh, he nor anybody has the right to benefit from it. The kohen can use truma tahira after it's truma. He can use truma tameya after it's truma, but no one can use tevel, neither the kohen nor a Yisrael. Gufa. Once again, Reb Shimon ben Elazar Aimer, Eimad Likim B'tzari. You can't use balsam oil, and again, as Baya and Rava both gave reasons, either because it's flammable or because of the aroma, you may come to take some and be mechaba. V'chein hoya Reb Shimon ben Elazar Aimer Tzari Einoi Elasraf Me'atze Haktaf. Reb Shimon Elazar said that tzari is a sap that comes from this atze haktaf, from the tree. It would seem that Reb Shimon Elazar is saying, well, let's see, Rabbi Shmuel Aimer kol hayotzim min ha'etz emad likim boy. You can't use any fuel that comes from the tree, because fuel that comes from the tree, like a sap, does not absorb well into the wick. Rabbi Shmuel ben Bereika, he concurs with Rabbi Shmuel, and Aimer, he says, emad likin el b'yotze min ha'pri. You can only use a fuel and oil that comes from a fruit, but if it comes from the tree, then it doesn't really burn well. It's like a sap. Reb Tarfon says, Eimad liken el b'shem zayis buvad. You can only use olive oil. Amar Reb Yochanan ben Nuri al Raglav. Reb Yochanan ben Nuri stood up when he heard Reb Tarfon's words, and he said, Ma yasu anshe Bavel, she'ein lohem ela shemen shum shemen. What should people in Bavel do when all they have is sesame seed oil? U'ma yasu anshe Modai, she'ein lohem ela shemen agoizim. What should people in Modai do who only have walnut oil? U'ma yasu anshe Alexandria, she'ein lohem ela shemen tzinoinos. What should people in Alexandria do when all they have is radish seed oil? And what should people in Kapotkia do that they have no seeds, but they have neft, and that's all they have? Rather, Ella, says Rabbi Yochanan Nuri, Ein lecha ela ma shomru chachamim. The only oils that are invalid are the ones that the first Mishnah in Bamemad Likan listed, and the others are fine. And you don't have to use Shemen Zayis. And he adds, Madlikim b'Shemen Dogim, you can use the oil of dissolved innards of fish, and be'itran, you can use itran, which is a residue when you boil tar. Reb Shimon Shazuri, I'm Madlikim b'Shemen Pakues u'beneft. Reb Shimon Shazuri, you can use the oil of squash or gourd seed oil and neft. And Sumchasheimer kol hayotzim min habasar, he says anything that comes from flesh, emad likim by, like you can't use chaylev, ela b'shemen dogim. You can only use oil that comes from the innards of fish. So the Gemara asks, Sumchas haine Tanakama. Sumchas says you can use shemen dogim. The Tanakama, which is Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, it's not Tanakama, it means a previous Tana also said you can use shemen dogim. So both said you can use shemen dogim. The Gemara says, Ika beinayu, the difference will be Rav Bruna Amarav, V'loi Misaimi, we're not sure who holds what. Now here I have to go very slowly and carefully and precisely. Rav Bruna Amarav once said that dissolved fat or dissolved fish innards cannot be used, but if you add a little bit of oil, you can use either of them. You can use dissolved fat if you add a little bit of oil to it. You can use dissolved kirvei dogim if you add a little bit of oil to it. So now there's going to be a machlokes tanoim between Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri and Sumchas. One will be more machmir than Rab Bruna Amarav, and one will be more mekel. The one that's more machmir will say that chaylev that's dissolved, you can't even use it if you add oil to it. Only shemen dogim is okay, but only if you add other oil to it. Again, whereas Rab Bruna Amarav says across the board, chaylev dogim that's dissolved and kirvei dogim that are dissolved are no, but if you add a little bit of shemen to either of them, it's a yes. There's now going to be a machlokes tanoim between Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri and Sumchas. One will be more machmir and one will be more mekel. The one who's more machmir will say that chaylev, when it's dissolved, is not good even when you add shemen. It's only kirvei dogim that will be okay when they're dissolved and you add shemen. So that's more chomer. On the other one will be more mekel. One will say that chaylev, when you dissolve it with shemen, is fine, but without shemen not. But kirvei dogim, if it's dissolved, is good even without shemen. So So therefore, that's going to be the machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri and Sumchus. One will hold kirvei dogim is good with shemen, but chaylev is not even with shemen. And the other will say that chaylev is good with shemen, but kirvei dogim is good even without shemen. But we're not sure who holds which, who's the machmir and who's the mekel between Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri and Sumchus. Tanya, we learned in a brayso, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Rabbi Shimon Elazar says, Kol hayotzim min ha'etz, any fabric that's made from plant, like canvas or cotton, ein boy mishum sholosh al sholosh, even if you make a piece of cloth that's 3 by 3 boys, it's not makabel tumah. And u'masachachem boy, since it's gedule karka, you can use it for schach. Chutz mi pishtan, pishtan is makabel tumah, and therefore you can't use it for schach. And even fiber of pishtan is makabel tumah. Amar Abaye says that Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar v'tana de Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Shimon Elazar and a brayso taught in the Beis Medrash of Rabbi Shmuel, Amru davar echad, are both saying the same thing. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar hodam moran, Rabbi Shimon Elazar we just said, and we'll get back to him in a second. And tana de Rabbi Shmuel mahi, what was taught in the yeshiva of Rabbi Shmuel? The tani de Rabbi Shmuel, it was taught in the yeshiva of Rabbi Shmuel. Many times the Torah talks about begodim. It says a sheretz can be metame a beged, or by Tumas Meis it says beged. Many times it says beged. And upard l'cha kosav be'echod mehem. And in one of the places where the Torah uses the word beged, the Torah specifies that it is tzemer and pishtim. By negoim it says a beged that has negot tzaras, bebeged tzemer, or bebeged pishtim. So this becomes a precedent. Mal halon, just like by tzaras, a beged means made of wool or linen, tzemer pishtim. Avkol, wherever it says beged, it's only tzemer pishtim. So according to Tanad Rabbi Shmuel, a beged made from other fabrics is not makabel tumah. Period. Abaye says that Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar and Tanad Rabbi Shmuel are saying the same thing. Although, carefully now, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar only said that besides for tzemer pishtim, other fabrics are not makabel tumah when they're only 3 by 3 etzbois, which might imply that if it's bigger than 3 by 3 etzbois, other fabrics could be makabel tumah. But Abaye claims that Rabbi Shimon Elazar and Rabbi Shmuel are saying the same thing, that it's tzemer pishtim that can be makabel tumah at any shear, and if it's not tzemer pishtim, it cannot be makabel tumah. And that's the opinion of Tana de Rabbi Shmuel, and that's the opinion of Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. On the other hand, Rava disagrees with Abaye, and he says, no, shloisha al shloisha b'shar begadim ikabeinayu. There is a difference. The difference is what happens if you have other fabrics, but they're made 3 by 3 tfachim, much larger than 3 by 3 etzbois. The Rabbi Shimon Elazar Islay. Rabbi Shimon Elazar only said that other fabrics will not be makabel tumah if they are merely 3 by 3 etzbois, implying that if it would be bigger, like 3 by 3 tfachim, it would be makabel tumah. But L'Tana de Rabbi Shmuel, Leslie, according to Tana de Rabbi Shmuel, tzemer pishtim is tzemer pishtim is tzemer pishtim, and no beged will be makabel tumah unless it's tzemer pishtim, no matter how big the other fabrics are. So according to Rava, there is a split between Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar and Tana de Rabbi Shmuel. According to Abaye, they're both saying the same thing. The reason why Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar denied any other fabrics from Kabbalah's tumah is probably, says Abaye, for the same reason of Tana de Rabbi Shmuel. The Torah says beged in many places. In one place it specifies it's tzemer pishtim, so it's tzemer pishtim or nothing. It's either tzemer pishtim that's makabel tumah, otherwise it's not. It doesn't matter what shear it has. Rava says it seems from Rav Shimon Elazar's words that he only denied that other fabrics can't be makabel tumah if it's only 3 by 3 etzbois. That not. But if it would be 3 by 3 tfachim, other fabrics could be makabel tumah. The kuli alma mias, but everybody, however, holds that if it's sholosh al sholosh b'tzemer pishtim metame b'negoim, that if it's wool or linen and it's 3 by 3 etzbois, it could be makabel tumah by negoim. Menolan, how do you know that such a small piece of fabric could be makabel tumah? The Tanya, it's a brisa. The beged, when it says beged, ainli ella beged. I would think a jacket, a pair of pants, a shirt could be makabel tumah by negoim. What about sholish al sholish minayin? How do you know if it's merely a piece of fabric 3 by 3 etzbois? Talmud Leimer, it says ve ha beged, the vav and hey are extra, which come to include even 3 by 3 etzbois. The ema, perhaps the vav and the hey balu rabbis comes to include only if it's shloisha al shloisha. Maybe it has to be 3 by 3 tfachim. Ooh, lav kal v'chaymeru. Why would you need a pasuk to tell me that 3 by 3 tfachim of tzemer pishtim could be mekabel tuma? It's a kal v'chaymer. Hashta shesi va'erev mitame. We know that the Torah says oy bashsi oy ba'erev, that tumas tzaras will be mitama, a thread of shsi, which is a certain kind of thread that goes across the loom, the length. Erev is a thread that goes across the loom and the width. So tell me, if even thread, a spool of thread of shasi or erev can become tamei, shloisha al shloisha miboya, do you need a pasuk vav hey to tell me that 3 tfachim by 3 tfachim of fabric can become tamei? Ihachi, if so, sholosh al sholosh nami leisi bekal v'chaymer. So then why would you need a pasuk to tell me that a piece of fabric of 3 by 3 etzbois could be mekabel tumah? If thread could be mekabel tumah, certainly 3 by 3 etzbois. The Gemara explains. Rather, you see, shloisha al shloisha, the chazu bein lashir and bein laniyim, 3 by 3 tfachim is a sizable piece of cloth. Anyone can use it. A poor man can use it, and even a wealthy man can use it. Asi b'kal v'chaymer. So that's a kal v'chaymer. If thread can be mekabel tumah, certainly a fine piece of cloth of 3 by 3 tfachim, which anybody can use, would be mekabel tumah. But you see, sholosh al sholosh, 3 etzbois by 3 etzbois, which is very small, 3 by 3 etzbois. Laniyim hu dechazian, only a poor man might use that. Lashirim lechazian, a rich man would not. So lo yasi b'kal v'chaymer. That may not be a kal v'chaymer, because thread can be used by everybody, but this little piece of fabric cannot. So therefore, Tama de Kasvei Kro, we need a pasuk vav hey to tell me that 3 by 3 etzbois is mekabel tumah. Lo Kasvei Kro, without a vav hey of a pasuk, lo garmina b'kal v'chaymer. We would not have a kal v'chaymer. So therefore, we have a pasuk now, the 3 by 3 etzbois of tzemer pishtim is mekabel tumah, because there's a vav hey to be marba. So the Gemara asks, how did you know that the vav hey is coming to be marba, that tzemer pishtim is mekabel tumah even with 3 etzbois? Ve'ema maybe l'rabbi shloisha al shloisha b'shar begodin. Maybe the vav hey comes to be marba that other fabrics can also be mekabel tumah if at least they are 3 by 3 tvachim. Who told you that the vav hey is marba tzemer pishtim at 3 etzbois? Maybe it's marba other fabrics at 3 tvachim. The Gemara says no, because Amar Kro, the pasuk says beget tzemer pishtim, which means beget tzemer pishtim in midi achrini loy. There's a pasuk that says only tzemer pishtim. So therefore, the first thing is only tzemer pishtim is mekabel tumah. The vav hey tells me that even 3 etzbois by 3 etzbois of tzemer pishtim is mekabel tumah. The Gemara asks v'eimba, but maybe we should say ki imaut misholosh al sholosh. Maybe tzemer pishtim only tells me that 3 etzbois by 3 etzbois is not enough to be mekabel tumah by other fabrics. Avo shloisha al shloisha mitame, but 3 by 3 tfachim will be tamei. Let me explain. The way the Ramban learns pshat in the Gemara is that the vav hey tells me that tzemer pishtim is mekabel tumah even if it's sholosh al sholosh etzbois. And only tzemer pishtim will be mekabel tumah when it's sholosh al sholosh etzbois. But 3 by 3 tfachim, which is a larger piece of cloth, maybe that should logically be mekabel tumah because it's good for aniyim and ashirim. One more time. The Torah says tzemer pishtim, so I know tzemer pishtim yes and others not. The vav hey tells me that even 3 by 3 etzbois of tzemer pishtim is mekabel tumah. But maybe only 3 by 3 etzbois is mekabel tumah by tzemer pishtim because it says tzemer pishtim. But other fabrics, maybe if they're larger, they're 3 by 3 tfachim, and they're valuable and usable by both aniyim and ashirim, maybe they should be mekabel tumah. So the Gemara answers, Trei miyut iksivi, because the pasuk says it twice. Twice it excludes other fabrics. It says twice, beget tzemer, oy beveget pishtim. So therefore the Torah specified tzemer pishtim twice. Chad lemutim misholosh al sholosh. One to tell you that other fabrics are not going to be mekabel tumah if they're 3 by 3 etzbois. V'chad lemutei mishloish al shloisha. I want to tell you that they're not mekabel tumah even when they are 3 by 3 tfachim. Now this is all the shita of Abaye. Abaye who said that according to Reb Shimon Elazar and according to Tana de Rabbi Shmuel, it's tzemer pishtim, only tzemer pishtim, and nothing but tzemer pishtim. So other fabrics are excluded from being makabel tum at all. And there's two psukim semer pishtim to say that other fabrics are not makabel whether they're 3 by 3 etzbois or even if they're 3 by 3 tvachim. We'll have to deal with Rava tomorrow. But semer pishtim, however, is makabel tumah whether it's a beged or whether it's 3 by 3 tvachim, and even when it's 3 by 3 etzbois, because the vav hey tells me that we're marba fill a beged of 3 by 3 etzbois. I just want to speak out there's a short daf. I want to speak out a short Dvar Torah. There were Tanoim here in the Baraisa that said that you can't light anything that comes from a tree because it doesn't absorb well into the wick. So if there are Tanoim that held like that, why would Abaye Rabbah have to give me two different reasons why you can't use balsam oil? One will say because it's flammable, the other says because it has a good aroma and you might take from it in order and you'll be machabe when you're not allowed to use it because it doesn't burn well. It comes from the tree. It's a sap from a tree, and therefore it doesn't absorb well, and you may come to tilt the candle. That's Taisvus Kasha. And the Or Sameach gives a classic answer. He says because the problem of coming from the tree and not burning well, and you might come to tip it, that's a problem on Shabbos, but not on Yom Tov. For Shabbos, I'm afraid Shamayata, but on Yom Tov, I'm not afraid of Shamayata, because on Yom Tov, Havara is mutter. So why would it be usher to use sap, balsam, on Yom Tov? The answer is either because you might take some oil from it, and that's mechaba. Mechaba Yom Tov is usher, or because it's flammable. And again, according to Taisvis, you might come to extinguish the fire. According to the Rashba and Ran, it's a question of sakonis nefashis. So I've spoken out that the difference between Abaye and Rabbah can have two differences. One difference will be if you put a little bit of oil in that it's no longer flammable, it'll still be usher because you might take some of the aromatic oil to be machabe. Or if you're already lit from it on Friday afternoon, for flammability, there's nothing you can do now. But because I'm afraid you might draw from the oil to be machabe, you'd have to move away from it. And since we have a reason that you can't use anything that's a sap from a tree, why do I need Abaye Rabbah's reasoning? Because the fact that it's a sap from a tree might invalidate it to be used on Shabbos, because you might come to be mata, you might come to be mavir, make a fire. But in Yom Tov, there's no isser of mavir. The only isser would be mechab if you take some of the oil out, or the danger of flammability. So I know this was a short daf, but be well. Everybody should be healthy and well. And kultiv, good night, good morning.